The screen is visible.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you see it now? Yeah. So my topic is challenges in children's health in post-COVID times. And I think I've been given 45 minutes. I hope to finish it in time. So these are the beautiful children that we have to deal with. So what has happened in the last 2 years? We've been hit by the COVID. The challenges to the healthcare provider were immense during the different waves of the COVID-19 in 2020 and 2021. I'm just recapitulating what actually happened. In March 2020, WHO declared it a pandemic, even as millions of lives were lost across the globe in the first wave. Clueless medical management was hit or miss. Some responded, others succumbed in hours of affliction. Families were glued to their TVs watching the reign of terror. The second wave in summer of 2021 was even worse and merciless. Vaccines were quickly developed, as were infrastructure in the ICUs and the equipment. Damage was done in terms of lives and livelihoods lost and consequences to personal health of survivors. Are we now over into a post-pandemic phase? We had the third wave in January, February with the Omicron, a less virulent form, but nonetheless afflicting many across the nation. The vaccine doses helped reduce hospitalization and severity. Boosters helped reassure the nervous. Now we are expecting the fourth wave in July, which, unless it is caused by a virulent mutant and in unvaccinated, is likely to be milder than the earlier ones. Already national numbers are up and not hospitalizations, luckily. We don't yet know all about the long-term consequences, so it is wise to keep up with the masking, the social distancing, and hand washing, like always. Our lives have changed forever. Understandably, the pandemic has caused changes in human habits, habitation, behavior, health, nutrition, activity, education, and livelihood. When initially people were forced to stay home from workplaces and children from schools, it was a grand holiday for the family. Cooking, baking, dancing indoors, art, music, family activity, and indoor play was cool. Holidays from school with no sign of ending, delightful. But soon the news in the living room playing constantly brought the miseries of the pandemic into each family. Daily wage workers like small vendors lost livelihood, construction workers their homes and jobs, and many organizations were firing. No one was hiring. What was the damage? Near and dear ones fell sick, no wards, no oxygen, no transport, no drugs, no food, no shelter. In more than 200 countries, no one was spared. The problems that beset us were physical, mental, social, financial, emotional, and spiritual. We had lost faith. What kept up the positive strokes were humanitarian agencies and healthcare and essential services that work round the clock, saving lives and situations. So what were the consequences of the pandemic as it raged on children? The COVID illness itself, it could have been mild, like an upper respiratory tract infection, or it could be the dreaded MISC, severe and needing ICU care, or it could be the long COVID with chronic systemic effects. What happened to the schooling? The scholastic online schooling after a gap of a few months to allow for schools to adopt to the new mode? The challenges of online study. Nutritional, either no food access in the lower strata or inappropriate portions and food in both, micronutrient deficiencies in both, physical inactivity and its effects on the body and mind, behavioral, psychosocial changes in family dynamics, domestic violence, abuse, drugs, and mental health concerns were dire. And media, invasion of the social media into the house, abuse, addictions of social media. So I shall be taking a few challenges specifically, which would be screen usage, schooling, lifestyle afflictions and morbidities, including food, physical activity, diabetes and PCOD, micronutrients, mental health concerns, and specifically my favorite topic of adolescent health and anticipatory guidance. So we deal with screen time. Look at all these things that have come into our lives. And this has affected our adolescents and our children. So what is the screen time guidance? Pediatricians can follow the policy statements of the American Academy of Pediatrics, as well as the recommendations of the WHO regarding media use. And this has to be strictly enforced. We spend quite a bit of our time in our OPDs talking to parents about how often the children left in front of the screen. And we are shocked and not surprised at all that these children have the screens taking over their lives. What is the recommendation for children aged 0 to 18? The AAP recommends no screen time except for video chatting with possibly grandparents who are far away. And high quality programming or applications with parental adult interaction and involvement for children aged 18 to 24. And screen time above the 1 hour for children aged 2 to 5 years. And the WHO has set a limit of 60 minutes of sedentary screen time for children 1 to 5 years, beyond which greater screen time is considered problematic use. So we have our own Indian Academy of Pediatrics guidelines, which we enforce as much as we can. We are helpless sometimes, but we can't stop telling our parents that please follow this. So what are the consequences of very early exposure to screen-based media and excessive screen time seem to be widely prevalent in Indian children? The group recommends that children below 2 years should not be exposed to any type of screen, whereas exposure should be limited to a maximum of 1 hour of supervised time. So the TV is not the babysitter. So it has to be a supervised screen time, and it has to be for children between 24 and 59 months, and less than 2 hours per day for children of high quality exposure between 5 and 10 years of age. Now, what is most important is screen time should not replace other activities such as outdoor physical activities, sleep, family and peer interaction, studies and skill development, which are necessary for overall health and development of the children and adolescents. And of course, families should ensure a warm, nurturing, supportive, fun-filled and secure environment at home, and monitor the children's screen use to ensure that the content being watched is educational, age-appropriate, and non-violent. Why would the child sit in front of the TV if the dad and mom are there to play with the child? So that is a responsibility that we cannot, ignore. Families, schools, and pediatricians should be educated regarding the importance of recording screen exposure and digital wellness as a part of routine child health assessment, and detect any signs of cyberbullying or media addiction, and tackle it timely with expert consultation if needed. So we just have to ask the parent, how much does a child watch in a day? And we get the answers. So what is the effect of using screens for a prolonged time on your child? Physical. So health, obesity, sedentary lifestyle, disturbed sleep, headaches, eye strain, neck and back and wrist pains. Mental. Delayed speech, hyperactivity, aggression, violence, desire for instant gratification, poor concentration, fear of missing out, fear of being left out, cyberbullying, media addiction, desensitization and distorted perception of sex by exposure to pornography, drug use, self-harm, anxiety, depression. I think that list is endless. And what are the social effects of using screens for a prolonged time? Reduced socialization and social anxiety. And scholastic, decreased academic performance. And we call this watching versus doing. It's a passive action. Screen time spent for educational or pro-social activities such as schoolwork, interacting with friends and relatives, and creating art or music or relaxation is termed positive or healthy, while watching inappropriate TV shows, visiting unsafe websites, or playing violent video games are few examples of negative or unhealthy screen time. TV and reading are linked. Research shows that the more TV kids watch before the age of 8, the less they read after the age of 8. And reading is so closely associated with academics. And if the child does not read because he has not been exposed to reading before the age of 8, it's highly unlikely that he will get better with time. So that is the urgency of not allowing the child to watch TV. And definitely ordinary mobile phones versus smartphones, the obvious advantage in the young of not giving the child a smartphone. We are playing using digital platforms, improve the child and parent bonding, recreation, and relaxation. So what is addictive capacity? How do you assess? So one is, if a child compulsively uses media, craves for it, has lost control over its usage, gets violent and asked to stop it, and continues to use despite adverse consequences, such as fall in academics and loss of friendships, he's probably addicted to it. Media addiction may be associated with other disorders such as ADHD, depression, and anxiety, and of course, very horrid cyberbullying, which can be a scar on the child. Consulting mental health professionals is a must. So we come to online schooling, and we have this in-person schooling. Look at the bright spark of a baby. What are we needed? What is needed in both forms of schooling? High standards, great teachers, and individual support. Equality versus equity. So what are the pros of online education? Variety of learning material and modes of teaching, more autonomy of what they want to learn, digital comfort zone of the generation, present generation, and the Google effect, where the information is. At the tap of a key, you can get the information you need. You don't have to store it in your brain. Teacher and student bond over similar tech supports and handicaps. Easier to be anonymous and excel in accessibility. There are those who are very shy and they do better on online learning resources. So it's cheaper than textbooks and shareable. And competition with different learning resources and help, there's a progress in the quality of the resources which are provided. And apps and products are facilitated because of the demand. So what are the cons? What are the disadvantages of education? It's a great gateway to procrastination. You don't want to finish the work today. You will say, I have time. I can, submit my work next week. Online disinhibition. So there are those who thrive on this, and there are those for whom it affects them. Merging formal and informal online spaces. So, when you're stopping to work, when you're relaxing, everything is merged. The development and technological era. The high cost of travel, many mid-income schools, they can't just afford it. And the monotony of boredom of sitting in front of the computer. Lack of social connections and collaborations. Lack of buffer time and gaps. You could walk to school and get that bit of exercise. But how can you do that when you have an online school? Cyberbullying and threats, very real. And of course, the constant use of your wrist in non-ergometric ways. Carpal tunnel syndrome, myopia, problem. So this is summarized by one Aditya Shukla from Pune. I got this from the net. And the whole thing what I just told you is from his. What are the pros and cons? So what is the importance of school? 2 years of no physical schooling has had an unfortunate impact on growth, development, and emotional health of school children. School is more than mere academics. School shapes moral and social character building blocks to skills for life. Character building is based on 6 pillars: trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship, which is all picked up in school, not in online. Discipline is learned in school. First taste of success and failure, good manners and bad habits, friendship and competition, compassion and care, jealousy and arrogance. All these are things which you deal with in school. So what are the complexities now in the post-COVID or the COVID times? Teachers needed to learn new modes. Lots of them dropped out, as did poor students with no gadgets. School midday meal helped feed 1 meal of the day. That was stopped. Child labor was rampant in the pandemic. Girls were married off. Low budget schools closed down. There were cancellations of exams, a lot of confusion about whether exams are going to be held, a lot of emotional distress for those who were really prepared. Infrastructure, income, access, and readiness was a privilege of the upper strata. 87 people have smartphones, but only 45 to 50% can access it. There would be one phone for the family, and the wage earner would carry the phone out of the house. Migrants and low-income families had no tools to adapt to online education, and school fees were unaffordable, so they dropped out. Middle and high-income over to the online mode, but faced learning and social skills setbacks. So the National Achievement Survey in November 2021, Mumbai was the worst hit. Only 28.8% of 10th grade students and 34.4% of 8th grade students could pass the survey test. Aided school kids have changed over to municipal schools to save on the fees. But the problem was leaving certificates were not being given as fees were not paid for 2 years. This was a catch-22 situation. So now we have a whole generation of children for whom 2020-21 are historical years in terms of scholastic and career loss, as well as family upheavals that are psychosocial, financial, and emotional. But we have to accept that digital learning is here to stay. COVID affected school learning. This is frozen in time. A survey on 3 lakh children discovered alarming facts. Almost 30,000 children in the first and second grades did not know how to read and write. 34 to 37% of children in 5th grade are at 3rd grade level. COVID has taught that instead of children going to school, the school has come to them. Working with mothers with educational messages, worksheets, Pratham has made progress in remedial education in Mumbai. So remedial education is the need of the hour. Automatic promotion was both a boon and a bane. So to catch up, remedial teachers and focus on basic language and math skills only and not bother about history, geography, or any other thing which is for the immediate work, it's not required. Basic language and math skills, appropriate to the level of the education of the child. So now we come to this lifestyle-induced chronic diseases. So what are they? Obesity and its associations, diabetes type 2, insulin resistance, hypertension and future in ischemic heart disease, addiction, screen gaming, substance abuse, eating disorders, body image issues, anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation. And in the gynec department and the endocrine department, we have PCODs, primary infertility, and of course, accidents. So India ranks second highest in the number of obese children in the world. So this is in USA and UK. The number of children and teens who were obese had grown to 22.4% in August 2020 from 19.3% in 2019, worsening a long-standing obesity epidemic in the United States. New data show that 2/5 of children aged 10 to 11 in England are overweight. And the pandemic has led to a rise in unemployment levels and a decrease in national income by 20%. So by December 2020, almost 9 million people in the UK had to borrow money due to pandemic. Reduced household incomes and rising food insecurity from the economic fallout of COVID-19 may have led to changes in family diets. These changes to family diets are often associated with foods with a higher caloric value, poor nutritional value, because access to healthier food is limited and more expensive. You want to buy organic food, you have to pay double the price. So what are the reasons for eating more inappropriately than usual? One is lockdown. There was more access and time to cook at home, posting on social media. Takeouts of instant and fast food became popular with more media advertising. Number of non-hunger and boredom, emotional eating of high cal, high salt, high sugar food was rampant. No physical activity in lockdown. Chips went to the hips. There was no school. Availability of fresh seasonal produce was premium. Packaged junks were cheaper relatively. Food insecurity rampant in many communities. Those who were pre-obese were easily pushed to obese with cultural ways of showing love by family all at home. So what is the remedy? Taking into consideration the alarming increase of weight gain in children and adults during the pandemic, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends the assessment of BMI in every pediatric visit and to provide counseling concerning healthy diet and physical activity. So just the fact that you will record the height and the weight and assess the BMI is an eye-opener for many parents, because they just think that the child is healthy. And when we chalk it up on the BMI chart, we know that the child has crossed all the possible curves there. Additionally, at-risk children and adolescents should be identified through the assessment of nutrition, sedentary behavior, sleep and physical activity, review of systems, and physical and family history. Return to sports and re-entry at schools are also recommended, depending on each country's regulations. So our own IOP guidelines on back to school and on tackling NCD is very clear. So these are the things that we ask in every day in our clinics. We ask about the growth, we check the weight, we check the height, we assess the BMI on the chart, we ask questions on what the child is eating, what is the pattern, how much activity, how much sleep, and what does the family do together. So that helps us, bring to awareness about what's happening. So you know what these are. This is salt. So salt and fat and sugar. The amount of dietary salt consumed is an important determinant of blood pressure levels and overall cardiovascular risk. WHO recommends salt intake of less than 5 grams per person per day. You know how much we in India eat? We have 10 grams per day. That's a common, 40% of the population consumes 10 grams per day. And our own NIN recommends 6 grams. But we still have a serious salt problem. I think the awareness that we're eating a lot of salt has to first sink in. Then regarding trans fat, the maximum 1% energy from trans fat and less than 10% energy from free sugar, and maximum is 20 to 25 grams per day of added sugar. So what are the suggestions? All governments should restrict junk food, easier said than done, banning advertisements in children's programs, removing junk food from schools, imposing a fat tax on food items like processed food if they contain more than 2.3% saturated fat, and working to regulate food business to contain salt, sugar, and fat. Change labeling rules for trans fats and salt, ban junk foods from schools and places where children can have easy access, implement stricter advertisement guidelines for children TV channels to allow on other channels only after 9 p.m. And then FSSAI should come out with regulations to reduce salt, sugar, and fats in junk foods, including imposition of fat, sugar, and salt tax. So we insist that families learn to read labels of whatever they buy, which is processed. This looks beautiful, but how many of us are really practicing in introducing this in our diets on a daily basis? This too. So this is choose my plate. You have fruits, grains, proteins, vegetables, and dairy in proper proportions. Now we come to physical activity. Toddler runs naturally, climbs, jumps, chases, cycles, etc. But no external parks, roads, playgrounds in the pandemic. He was sat before the TV or mobile and force fed, and the entire family was at home. Similarly, the young child. But the adolescent earlier had an outside space for both physical activity with peers, and he also had privacy outside the house. Now the family was too much in his life all the time. He ate more than he could expend energy of. Indoor or online sports was only e-sport. That he escaped to when not online at school. So physical activity recommendations are 1 hour for all the groups. At least 1 hour. So this is a family that's running together. So what are the small things that can be done? One is don't sit if possible at all. Take breaks from sitting at schoolwork. Use standing desk, 10-minute workouts at the desk space. Walk even inside the house several rounds. Don't use transport when outside. Be mindful of when, how much, and how often, and what to eat. Exercise as often as can. Dance, aerobics, keep track of weight. And we have yogasana, which you're going to hear a lot of with the next two speakers talking. And we have meditation. So a little bit about diabetes and COVID. The presence of the angiotensin converting enzyme, the functional receptor for SARS-CoV on insulin-producing pancreatic islet cells, causes transient changes in blood sugar levels following COVID infection. It later follow-up showed that only a minority of patients had persistent diabetes, suggesting that the injury to the pancreatic beta cells is mostly transient. Children who already had type 1 diabetes, who developed COVID-19, had mild disease, or were asymptomatic, similar to children without diabetes. Patients with type 1 diabetes also had a lower rate of hospitalization when infected with SARS. So, but however, during the pandemic, children with newly diagnosed diabetes presented with a more severe form of diabetic complication, diabetic ketoacidosis. This could be because of reduced access to primary care services and fear of seeking healthcare service during the pandemic period, leading to late diagnosis. Similarly, all children who had chronic illnesses, who were scared to attend the hospital services, had exacerbations of their illnesses. The pandemic has forced many healthcare teams caring for patients with diabetes to implement telemedicine as a tool to provide ongoing care. Telehealth services and newer technologies like continuous glucose monitoring devices, continuous insulin infusion devices will likely continue to support the care of these children even after the pandemic is gone. So this is the PCOD, and it's a lifestyle disease. Dr. Rupal from IIT Powai had this beautiful collection of facts, which I thought I should tell you. So what is the cause for the sudden weight gain in these PCOD children? The convenience, availability, and advertisements of hyperpalatable, ultra-processed, calorie-dense foods in big portion size, and associating junk food with everything in life, birthdays, parties, dates, social media posts, college hangout spots, everything is associated with food. Limited cooking skills for fresh, nutritious food. They can only cook instant noodles. Limited availability of nutritious foods. They live in hostels, they travel, restaurants, food delivery. Mindless fast eating and snacking. Overeating while binge watching or gaming. Emotional eating, escapism, stress management, boredom. Sedentary lifestyles, more sitting, no sports, less walking, studying, projects on laptop, mindless scrolling. Disturbed sleep schedules, studying, binge watching shows, parties, screen time. So these are all the causes, and PCOD is treated only by changing the lifestyle. Micronutrients, iron, copper, zinc, manganese, nickel, boron. So she has this, Dr. Rupal has this compilation where she has studied children between 5 and 9 years and 10 and 19 years. And both school-going children and adolescents suffer from multiple forms of malnutrition and chronic disease risks. Anemia, even in the overweight. And they had folate deficiency, vitamin B12 deficiency. Some were 12% were pre-diabetic and 2 in 5 had high triglycerides. And 1 in 4 have anemia. This is shocking news and something that we should be very aware when we're doing nutrition counseling. So what are we doing in our clinics? In our clinics, we are doing these things. One is we follow growth charts. We have our WHO, we have our IAP growth charts, and we religiously track every child that comes in, right from the time the child is 2 years old till the time the child is 18 years old. And even if we forget our patients are telling us, ma'am, you forgot to put the weight in the growth chart. So we are quite successful at that now. So we take a detailed history. We ask about diet, calories processed in junks, fresh food, vegetables, water. We ask about these questions. Check for physical exercise, screen time, academic and recreational, sleep adequacy. I think that sleep is such an important thing that we overlook it. Adolescents need at least 8 hours of sleep, and the young ones need 9 to 10 hours of sleep. Screening for psychosocial issues, including anxiety and depression. And in adolescents, we do a head screening, so we get all the facts at our fingertips. And then we check the family history for psychosocial, financial, and domestic issues. And we check all the systems and we investigate as relevant. So the clinical guidelines of 2020, again, it is recommendations: maintaining healthy nutrition, minimizing sedentary time, getting enough sleep and physical activity, and then assess for obesity and help maintain obesity treatment for patients with obesity. And everybody has come to this conclusion that one solution, and probably the best solution, is getting kids back to school. Now we come to this most important: psychosocial health. While screening for physical disease, we have to evaluate for mental health issues, commonly anxiety and depression. So many things are not under one's control in the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on family units, resources, relationships, family dynamics, and recreation. So what were the resources? The limitation of resources, including social support, school systems, financial constraints, job loss, migration, loans. Relationships: social isolation limits access to peer groups, trusted elders, and family for social support. Recreation: limitation of space, activities for physical and mental recreation due to restrictions of movement and being confined to home. Anxiety and fear have no physical outlet. Family dynamics, including sharing of household responsibilities, child caregiving burden, while also managing work, will add to stress of family units and can lead to parental burnout. So these were the 4 things that were affected by the pandemic. So what were the outlets since the families began? Washing the dishes, watering the plants, vacuuming the floor, cleaning the kitchen, washing the car, do the laundry. This was not work. This was engaging the mind. The seniors were there to help de-stress. Open spaces in nature was calming. Exercising indoors, yoga. So what was the impact on the psychosocial environment of children and adolescents? Mirroring families' response and coping patterns to stressors such as financial burden, lack of social support, physical health issues, children may tend to exaggerate and catastrophize. The current pandemic, due to information overload through various sources. The TV was on all the time, remember, with the news just coming in every day, every moment, 24/7. Disruption of daily routine, changes in appetite and sleep patterns, life was not the same. Loneliness due to lack of peer companionship and isolation. You never saw your friend for days on end. Relying more on digital gadgets, virtual gaming, and substance use as a substitute to outdoor recreation. Learning loss due to disruption of school-based academic activities. This is likely to disproportionately affect children and adolescents from low-income families, leading to higher rates of school dropouts. Engaging in high-risk behavior to overcome boredom, including increased unsupervised time, increased screen time, accessing pornography, divulging sensitive information online to strangers, and increased rates of abuse, both inside and online, physical, emotional, sexual, child marriage, child labor. A lot of low-income families just not sold their daughters, they married their daughters because they consider that it was going to get worse with time. This is the reality. Your gadget is telling you to do all these things. So what are the signs and symptoms of mental illness? Children may present with change in appetite, sleep disturbances, repeated reassurance-seeking behavior, becoming withdrawn or excessive use of digital screens, acting out, obsessive neurosis, regression in academics, and more. So no child is going to come and say, I have a mental illness, treat me. You'll have to look out for the subtle signs and pick them up early so that you can work on it. Children coming from difficult backgrounds are more susceptible to psychological distress or to be victims of abuse. These include children from families with economic difficulties, parental physical or psychological illness, substance use disorder among parents. So what can we do? We inquire about well-being of children of persons with mental illness in clinics and provide parenting inputs. We liaison with schools and social services to minimize the impact of pandemic on children as needed in case of child abuse, child labor. And we empower and enable teachers and other stakeholders to deal with emotional problems in children through early identification and teaching life skills. We counsel parents. They should be given time to express their challenges and difficulties in a non-judgmental and empathic environment. empathetic environment. Parents should be encouraged to pay attention to their own mental health and to speak out their distress often. The parents try to be heroes sometimes. So you will have to tell them it's okay. Be kind to yourself. Share with us and we'll try to help you. So give practical solutions, focus on enhancing effective communication among parents about family difficulties, help them reorganize family needs and goals with sharing of responsibilities based on available resources, encourage shared childcare time so that both parents get enough time to balance other work, spend quality time with the child, engaging in a joint recreational physical activity. For emotional, financial, family, and job-related difficulties, encourage to seek help from people who can support. Don't be afraid to ask for help. So that's the benefit of a strong family bond. So now we have tips to the adolescent. So we tell the adult, manage stress effectively, have a positive and flexible attitude, be helpful, kind and polite, follow a healthy lifestyle, ensure 1 hour of moderate physical activity every day, balanced diet, 8 to 9 hours of sleep, avoid tea, coffee, cola, junk food, say a firm no to alcohol and smoking. Share your concerns and worries with parents and trustworthy adults. Manage time well, adopt regular study habits, and use digital media judiciously. Practice relaxation techniques like pranayama, meditation, praying, breathing, positive self-talk. Develop a hobby. Participate in sports and extra academic activities like dance and music. Team up with your friends and work together to manage stress. You're not alone. Learn life skills. Life skills help us to deal with problems and challenges of daily life. WHO has suggested 10 basic life skills that are grouped into the following 3 major categories. Thinking skills, which are critical thinking, creative thinking, problem solving, decision making, personal skills, are self-awareness, coping with emotions, coping with stress, and interpersonal skills are communication skills, empathy, healthy interpersonal relationships. So when we deal with adolescents, we introduce life skills to them and we give them examples of critical thinking, creative thinking, communication skills. We tell them that if you spend time and energy on learning life skills, you can face any situation and get over it, get on top of it. So we tell them to be responsible digital citizens. Use your personal digital devices for educational and recreational purpose sparingly after allocating adequate time for study, physical activity, sleep, and social interaction with family and friends. We don't tell them don't go onto the net, but we tell them be judicious about what you're doing. Be responsible. And then keep your bedroom free from electronic devices and avoid exposure to them at least 2 hours before sleep. Protect your online personal information. Log out after use and never share your password with others. Do not chat with strangers online. Be aware of digital footprints. Never post hurtful messages online or offline. Confide in parents and trustworthy adults if you receive any uncomfortable message. So we need each other. As these teachers and schools will continue to play a significant role in promoting positive mental health of children once academic activities resume. Some suggestions which may be useful are, please take into account learning loss and allow for catch-up learning. Don't be hard on the students. Enhancing learning continuity, the modes of educating children should be modified to engage children from all backgrounds, at least for a few hours daily. Take a few extra classes. 3 approaches can be considered depending on feasibility. Offline teaching are more suited for children with limited resources, open-air classrooms. Home-based education through worksheets and assignments may be suited where parents are educated and can spend some time in helping children with studies. Teachers can maintain continuity through periodic discussion in the family, and online classes are suited only for children about 10 years of age. The classes should be planned in an interactive manner and be time limited. There can be a dedicated TV channel and other media avenues with uniform syllabus for children above 10 years of age. And there should also be an avenue for teaching life skills to children. I just told you about them. And equal importance should be given to teaching about healthy education, promoting positive physical and mental health of children, and stressing on the importance of balanced nutrition and regular exercise. You should consider alternative methods of evaluating students from their curricular achievements or consider promotion based on overall abilities. When schools open, which they have, teachers should promote safe hygiene practices. I think that's something which is being neglected now. Include safe distancing, educate children on modes of spread, and how children can contribute to prevention of spread. So I just have 2 slides on adolescent clinic and then I'm done. So what is the aim of setting up an adolescent clinic? To reinforce and encourage health-promoting lifestyles, to detect physical, emotional, and behavioral problems and to intervene early, to give age-appropriate preventive counseling for common issues, to provide anticipatory guidance against risk-taking behavior, to immunize, to provide parental guidance. These are not my words. This is from our Indian Academy of Pediatrics. Dr. Preeti Galli has been the force behind this. So what was the components of anticipatory guidance? I think I have already mentioned all of this in the talk in the previous slides. I'm just summarizing this. So when the adolescent is with us in our clinics, these are the things we go through. So we give them information on normal development, nutrition, physical activity, and sleep. We talk about study skills. We handle immunization. We talk about hygiene, hand washing technique in dental care. We teach them about menstrual hygiene, how to prevent injuries, how to handle peer pressure and bullying, and what is media literacy and addiction and cyberbullying, what is a responsible sexual behavior and safe sexual practices, and how to prevent substance use, and parental guidance and life skills. And of course, the last and most important is, are they aware of the POXO laws, the cyber laws, the Drug Psychotropic Substance Act, Juvenile Justice Act, so that we have, even in their experimentation, they don't cross these boundaries. Stress is what we tell our patients. The pandemic has affected similarly millions all over. Learn to talk about what's bothering you with friend, family, teacher, caring, known adult. Take their help. Develop life skills to cope with troubling issues. Invite few humor into situations. Don't be in a dark place. Focus on education, nutrition, exercise, personal hygiene, relationships, hobbies, and exploring your own potential. Remain confident and joyful always. Thank you. I'll be happy to take any questions. Hello? I can't hear anybody. So is there something wrong with my slides? I mean, with my, what do I do now? Yeah.
Participants can ask the questions in chat box.
Are there any questions? Okay. So Smita Kumar says all aspects have been covered in such detail, no questions, ma'am. And a lot of people have messaged me that it was very informative. So since there are no questions, I'll be proceeding further. Thank you, Dr. Shubha Badami, for the most insightful of the explanations that we heard from you. We often think that it is just children. So we feed them, we put them to bed, and we are done. There's nothing else in the background that happens. But after hearing you, oh my God, a lot of things that happen, and we have to actually start paying attention to all the aspects. Only then a child will come out of this pandemic situation successfully. We know that I'm seeing patients, teaching and giving lectures, a lot of other places. You have made time for us. You have shared your knowledge with us. So we are very, very grateful to you. Before I wind up about you, I would like to say that you have been one of the most kindest people that I've come across. Very insightful, a lot of experience I have learned. And I hope that your support with Lakulish Yoga University remains always. Thank you again, ma'am. You have been very kind. Thank you so much. Moving on to the second session of today, we have with us our own Dr. Vijay Kumar, Associate Professor. He will be talking to us about yoga for children beyond exercise. A brief introduction about Dr. Vijay Kumar. He is an Associate Professor at Lakulish Yoga University, Ayurveda and Yoga Therapy Consultant. He has completed BAMS, MD in Yoga Rehabilitation, MSc Clinical Psychology, and PhD in Yoga. He has more than 45 scientific papers in the field of yoga, psychology, and medicine to his credit. He is also the author of the book Handbook of Anatomy and Physiology for Yoga Therapists. He is a well-renowned clinician in the field of Ayurveda and yoga. Previously, he was resident medical officer at Arogyadama Holistic Hospital in Esvyasa University. Now, he has also taught yoga and rehabilitations to students abroad. Over to you, Dr. Vijay Kumar.
Namaste everyone, Jai Bhagwan. Am I audible? I hope I'm audible. Can anybody confirm, am I audible? Thank you. So, thank you very much, Dr. Shubha Madam, for such a wonderful, it was like an enlightening presentation, because you had covered almost all the aspects of how pandemic had, influenced children and adolescents. And not only children and adolescents, we have covered even parenting also. Thank you very much for that. And today, I would like to share a few thoughts with what Madam has already explained. If we try to understand the current scenario, if you see today's, even according to CDC, report, today what they define current, younger population as a typical child, described as a stressed out, undernourished, and even sedentary. Though children are naturally by nature they are not sedentary, but because of this current scenario, the very complexity posed by the current scenario is demanding approach which are multidimensional, which should be multidimensional, because existing approach might not suffice the versatile need of this hour. If we see the new normal, this is again, I don't know whether we call this is a post-pandemic. I'm not sure, because still fourth wave, I don't know how many more waves to come. But our preparedness and our, the lessons we have learned from the past, I don't know, we are in a good position to handle those things. But with the existing evidence, if we try to understand today's, scenario, that our new normal, the very learning atmosphere has changed from offline to online. Everything has become hybridized, and the physical or even social interaction has become almost minimal. I would say almost nil. Children don't get an opportunity to interact with their groups, and the very developmental aspect of the children have been greatly compromised, because development of children's potential depends on the very environment where they live, whether it is the home environment, whether it is the academic environment. And why I'm presenting yoga could be a potential tool for the overall rehabilitation of children and adolescents, because it poses such an enormous amount of positive impact on physical as well as the psychosocial aspect. If you see the very basic understanding of yoga makes us listen to our inner rhythms. Like, it makes us more inwarded, and we can develop better mindful state. So that even helps the children to listen to their own experiences, their own feelings, their own ideas, their own intuitive creativity. Everything can be experienced and felt. But unfortunately, because of we are in the era of distractibility, we could say, even during pandemic, even after the pandemic impact, the amount of distractibility has become very, very high. So attention span has been greatly compromised. As a result, you could see the great number of anxiety, depression, even body dissatisfaction complex. So wide range of psychological issues have been arised because of distractibility. That is the underlying cause. And distractibility is because of, again, isolation, social withdrawal, or even longer screen time, even social media addiction or internet addiction. Many of them things contribute to one thing, one underlying cause, that is we generally refer to lack of sustained attention or distractibility. So based on the evidence, if we see the basic yogic practices, I'm not talking about the philosophical aspect of it, basic, even physical practices like asana, breath regulation, relaxation practice, and even simple form of transcendental or mindful meditation practices have given so much psychophysiological benefits. These are the benefits which have been already documented. So this gives us a very clear indication that we can definitely make use of this potential tool. If we talk about mind-body awareness, it enhances attention because it reduces distraction. So attention is one of the key area for learning, not only for the academic purpose, even for the sense of well-being is closely attached to the sustained attention, and that is the basis of our executive function. And even when we talk about self-regulation, is again based on emotional regulation. Whether we have inculcated the day-to-day small practices like the sense of gratitude, like by offering food or even by doing simple, basic rituals like puja, offering prayer. Those are the small things. We feel that they are not very significant practices, but they do play a very vital role in developing better emotional sublimation. And for developing self-regulation, emotional sublimation is the key. We talk a lot about emotional regulation. We don't know how to translate those ideas into practice. Simple thing would be like making them, involved in devotional session like bhajan or singing dhuns, participating in puja. So those things have to be inculcated into the child's day-to-day practices. That again comes back to parental thing, because we as a parent, we should create that environment. We can't always blame the child that you should do this, you should do that. We should create the environment that should be conducive for the child to go through, because that is how they learn, by mimicking, by getting influenced by. When we talk about physiological thing, as Shubha Madam was rightly pointing out, that the even insulin resistance at the early age, like even the obesity, especially visceral obesity, those things are not very healthy for their population. Again, those are the results purely because of their sedentary lifestyle and unregulated food. As Madam was pointing out, food industry should be worried about consumers' health, and medical industry, healthcare industry should be worried about patients' diet. Both of those are not going to happen because again, it's a consumer-centered market, because everything revolves around money, and well, we cannot help it. But definitely, we can make use of our vast, ancient healing wisdom to enhance not only the physical aspect but the entire physio-sociological aspect of it. That overall personality development can be achieved through simple practices, starting from the physical posture to the spiritual component, spiritual practices on a day-to-day basis. If we talk about learning and behavior, studies even in the children population have shown it increases working efficiency, and because again it goes back to the neurophysiological changes that happens when we practice yoga. Simple tree pose is like vrukshasana. It takes hardly 30 seconds to practice, but even one single attempt of tree pose can increase prefrontal cortex activity. That is again pivotal to maintain a better sustained ability. And the relaxation practices, even the simple pranayama practices are very active ways in which we can channelize their energy. Their energy is to be more goal oriented than being too distracted. Most of the time it becomes self-destructive, because that is how these internet addiction, social media addiction, or even the pornography addiction, or even binge eating. So all those things are somewhere revolving around this distractibility. They are not in a position to regulate themselves. So these findings supports that even they're very learning in the classroom or even in their own environment, if we can try to use yogic practices here and there, simple, whether we talk about trataka practice, one simple candle gazing, if they can practice it for 10 minutes, it can make a huge change. Even there are studies like I would like to quote one study at they have conducted study on 5th grade students. They want particularly they wanted to do on a long-term basis, because they wanted to see the long-term effect. So even yoga and relaxation practice have shown better emotional regulation and helping them to overcome fear complex and their helplessness. Even it reduced their aggressions. So this kind of a negative effect has been greatly managed through yoga practices even after 6 months of the practice. So this was something very supportive for anybody to accept yoga as an effective intervention. That too even in a very tender age of 5th grade. And if you see the anti-obesity effects of yoga practice, there are even biomarkers like interleukin 6, tumor necrosis factor alpha. There was a significant reduction, and adiponectin was significantly increased. So these are the biomarkers, these are the biochemicals where they shows a very healthy trend how yoga practices can act against developing obesity, or even in an obese population, they help to reduce their obesity, especially central obesity, the visceral obesity. Along with that, it helps to cope them better with the stress, because the demands which have been thrown from the new normal and the very anxiety they develop because of their body satisfaction. Body dissatisfaction has become a big problem even after the lockdown period, because we all have gained weight, especially when it comes to children, even adolescents, they have gained weight. When it comes to adolescent population, they are very sensitive towards their body image, and body dissatisfaction is the biggest problem for them right now. And these yogic practices have helped greatly. Even in the previous studies, it has been clearly documented that they help to accept their the very body presentation, and it helps to reduce their body dissatisfaction. And because of lockdown, social distancing, children were not able to go out and play. So as a result, their physical endurance has been greatly compromised. And there are evidence which is clearly pointing out that most of the orthopedic, not most, all of the orthopedic injuries, especially in the children category, are purely because lack of strength and flexibility, because of the sedentary lifestyle. And yoga practices, even say asana practice, simple like Surya Namaskara practice, sun salutation, can greatly enhance hand grip strength, endurance, even the respiratory and inspiratory muscle strength. So by and large, yoga can be used as simple Surya Namaskara practice can be used as a tool to develop better functional capacity. And when it comes to screen time, as you know that because of the pandemic, we have no other option. Like the entire family used to go through with a lot of. They used to spend most of their time on screen. So it was an inevitable part of lockdown. But the thing is, it has been disrupted. If it is an healthy screen period, then it is fine. But as soon it crosses the healthy zone, it becomes totally abnormal or unhealthy. So as a result, it disrupts their sleep, the entire circadian rhythm. So their entire psychophysiological function has been greatly compromised. And by simple practice like Omkara chanting, if we make the child to sit before go to bed, if we make make them sit and just ask them to breathe deeply for 10 rounds and chant Omkara for 10 rounds, that can even enhance the entire melatonin system and even the level of melatonin in their blood. So not only the anxiety reduction, but even the melatonin system get enhanced. That in turn alters their quality of sleep. That helps to restore their normal circadian rhythm. Even the glimpse of neurophysiological changes here, if we try to understand, because it increases the dopamine activity, even GABA aminobutyric acid level goes high with a single yoga practice session, and great reduction in norepinephrine level, or even in the glutamate level has been greatly reduced with single yoga practices. And if you see the entire default mode network in the brain and the way the cortical and subcortical activation takes place with breath regulation, with asana practice, and even with meditation, is like so gigantic and so enormous. We have so much data to to accept the efficiency or efficacy of yoga practices, and whether we can use it for impulse control, because these days we get to face this very prevalent complication. They are not very responsive, they are not very reciprocative, they are so impulsive with their activities, especially when it comes to their sensual gratification. So yoga practices helps to develop better mastery, the self-regulation when it comes to emotional sublimation through calming down the entire limbic system, and the better activity, a better coordination of prefrontal cortex and limbic cortex. Few studies have clearly documented if there is a disrupted activity or incongruence between prefrontal cortex and limbic cortex, that creates impulse control, lack of inhibition control. So if we can make use of simple chanting like Gayatri Mantra chanting or Omkara chanting, or even simple relaxation practice like guided yoga nidra, or even if we can make them practice Surya Namaskara, and immediately if we can give them relaxation practice, those things have shown, repeatedly shown, to have a better inhibition control. Not only for a healthy population, even in a clinical population with asthma, children with asthma, there's been very significant improvement in their lung functional capacity. And even with the visually impaired children, their physiological arousal has been greatly reduced. So these are the very healthy findings which supports the effective use of yoga, not only for healthy population, but even for the clinically sick population, where we can use yoga as a rehabilitative tool, and for the healthy children and adolescent population, we can use it as a preventive tool. And mental health, as we all know, that antidepressant effect, anxiolytic effect, mood elevating effect, enhancing quality of sleep, even increasing attention span, all these things not only related to the psychological domain of an individual, but even for the physiological domain. All these positive psychological construct greatly influences their physiological function. So the need of the hour is we should develop yoga-based support system, where support from the school, support from the family and society. Along with that, we should help work on implementing yoga-based lifestyle, like early to bed, early to rise, and in the morning, if the family member encourages the child to practice simple sun salutation, Surya Namaskara, or even outdoor activities. Along with that, they can do breath regulation in the outdoors, like pranayama in the park, or even after walk, they can just lie down and do simple sky meditation, just watching the sky mindfully for 5-10 minutes with deep abdominal breathing. So it doesn't take much of resource and time. Those are very effective, because they have been already the efficacy has been already documented, not only once or twice, many a time through rigorous scientific studies. So overall, psychophysiological health can be improved by adopting yoga-based lifestyle in the existing lifestyle. I think this is the basic module we can use for children, even in the adolescent. But I would like to add one point here. Don't add inverted practices before the age of 7, because most of the parents, they think early to start with dynamic asanas would be, or advanced asana will be very beneficial. It's not so, because advanced is not about the flexibility. Advancement in the practice is all about developing a deeper awareness, deeper mind-body awareness. So when we teach our children, or when we make them practice, don't give inverted practices, inversions before the age of 7. Then after the age of 7, they can do, because it has a negative impact on the endocrine function. So they can do most of the practices without inverted practices. And this is the simple module. They can make a better use. And this module, we have been using it from last 10 to 15 years. And it has been found to be very beneficial for the physical as well as psychological domain of the children. So I think people can make use of this. There's so much to share, but I think I should better go for question answer. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And thank you very much for the patient listening. Any questions? No questions. Yeah. Yes, madam. I think someone has raised their hand. I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. Or else you can just type your question in the chat box.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yeah. Please
Okay. सर जैसे आजकल जैसे पेरेंट्स काफी फोकस कर रहे हैं बच्चों की स्किल्स डेवलप करने के लिए, सो दे जस्ट गो विद दी कि 1 घंटा इस क्लासेस में चले जाओ, 1 घंटा उसी क्लासेस में चले जाओ, तो काफी बिजी रखते हैं बच्चों को. तो कहीं ना कहीं वो इम्पैक्ट तो करता ही है, तो किस वे में इम्पैक्ट कर रहा है? गुड वे में, और ठीक है कहीं ना कहीं मेंटली बच्चे को परेशान करती है वो चीजें काफी.
हाँ, ऑब्वियसली प्रश्न तो बहुत जरूरी है, सबको समझना बहुत जरूरी है, क्योंकि आजकल सुबह से उनका शेड्यूल 5:30 बजे से रात को 10:30 बजे तक पूरा टाइट रहता है. म्यूजिक क्लास जाओ, स्विमिंग क्लास जाओ, एक्सरसाइज में जाओ, क्रिकेट कोचिंग में जाओ. बट द प्रॉब्लम इज, हम लोग ये नहीं समझते कि जितना हमें एक्सर्शन, एक्टिविटी की जरूरत है, उतना ही हमें रिलैक्सेशन की, रेस्ट की जरूरत है. बिकॉज रेस्ट इज द ओनली वे बॉडी और माइंड एंड बॉडी रिस्टोर्स, रिप्लेनिशेस. क्योंकि वो एक डिप्लीशन फेज के बाद रेस्टोरेशन जरूरी है. सुबह से लेकर शाम तक उनको अगर हम दौड़ाते ही रहेंगे तो वो थक तो जाते हैं, लेकिन कभी अपने आप को रिलैक्स नहीं कर पाते. हमें एज ए पेरेंट यही समझना है कि बिजी रखना बच्चे के लिए और पेरेंट्स के लिए, दोनों के लिए अच्छा है, लेकिन इतना भी बिजी मत रखिए कि उनको सांस लेने का भी समय ना मिले. राइट? So simple अगर रखना है कि first try to find out उनको क्या जरूरी है, उनको क्या पसंद है. Don't impose your likes and dislikes on the child. I think Shubha ma'am would like to add. Please unmute Shubha ma'am.
Yeah. So this is a very important question that she's asked, and that which a lot of our parents also ask us. What is the aim of putting the child for the classes in the first instance? Are you doing it for your pleasure, or you want to get rid of the kid, or is the child interested in those things? Are you asking all those questions? Secondly, I would say that this putting in different classes in the initial phases of a child's childhood is to find out what are his, you have 8 multiple intelligences, there are 8 types. So you're trying to find out what are the intelligence that this child has got as its strength. So that is the aim of putting for the classes, not because your neighbor is doing it or somebody recommended or whatever. So you have to be very sure why you're doing it. And once you have decided that this child has this particular intelligence, ensure that that intelligence is taken forward in high school or college or whatever, whether it's a sport, whether it's an art, whether it's music, whether it's something, dance. It has to be one thing that the child, falls back upon when he needs his relaxation. That is all I wanted to say.
True. Thank you very much, ma'am. Because most of the time, parents impose their likes and dislikes on the child. They never ask whether they like it or not. So that's the biggest mistake of being a parent we commit. So I think children are always spontaneous. They're not sedentary like us. We have made them sedentary because it is like domesticating a dog. So if we leave them on their likes and dislikes, they will, I think, they will be able to find. So it's better we should talk to them. We should at least ask before we commit something. So rest is very much needed, madam. Like how much we need, they do need rest, restoration, and that is very essential. And most of the thing, like somebody was asking, it's very difficult for them. बच्चे को relaxation करना बहुत मुश्किल है because वो बहुत restless होते हैं. Kids, they are restless. Yes, of course they are restless because they are very, very energetic, very explorative, very enthusiastic. But again, our formal education, our formal society has suppressed everything. We want to, we want children to do whatever we want, not what they want. तो उनके रिलैक्सेशन के लिए पहले कभी भी उसको लेट जाओ, अभी हम योग निद्रा करेंगे, ऐसे वो कभी नहीं करेंगे. तो उसके लिए क्या करना है? Let them do breathing. We have to be creative while teaching. We cannot ask them to do formally. तो creative का मतलब है कि let them do Kapalbhati. उनको आप बताओ कि let's do Kapalbhati, let's do tiger breathing or dog breathing, rabbit breathing. तो वो थोड़ा थकने के बाद you'll ask them to chant simple like akara, ukara, makara, omkara, or even using Gayatri mantra or Mahamrityunjaya mantra. Any sort of simple easiest shlokas can be used for chanting, because chanting has a great impact on neurophysiological change. Even one single omkara chanting can alter limbic function. So we can make use of it. It is not always compulsory to make them lie in shavasana and close their eyes for hours together and get into the deep state of trance. Not required. They can relax as their brain slows down. We just have to take them from beta wave formation to alpha wave formation. That is more than enough. They don't need to go to delta or theta, because anyways children have a better sleep than us. So we don't have to. Only thing is we have to come with creative way to make them relax. And somebody is asking, sir, children के लिए late night study health के लिए ठीक है? Definitely health के लिए ठीक नहीं है, क्योंकि निद्रा समाधि समा इसलिए कहा जाता है कि जितना हमें वेकफुल स्टेट यानी जाग के रहने का जितना जरूरी है उतना सोने का भी जरूरी है. और एक हमारे अंदर एक सर्केडियन रिदम होता है, उसको बायोलॉजिकल क्लॉक कहते हैं, और उसके हिसाब से जब तक दिन रहता है, जब तक सूरज के रोशनी रहता है, तब तक हमारे ब्रेन के अंदर मेलाटोनिन सेक्रेट नहीं होता है, क्योंकि वो फोटोसेंसिटिव हार्मोन. जैसे जैसे अंधेरा छाने लगता है, जैसे जैसे शाम होते होते हमारा धीरे धीरे मेलाटोनिन प्रोडक्शन चालू होता है, बिकॉज आंखों के अंदर जितना रोशनी गिरता है उसके हिसाब से मेलाटोनिन बनता है. तो ये मेलाटोनिन का पूरा फंक्शन ही दिन और रात को संभालना. अगर हम रात को नहीं सोएंगे तो फिर नींद कब होगा? नींद डिस्टर्ब होगा पूरा हमारे फिजियोलॉजिकल फंक्शन. बिकॉज ये भी हम मेडिसिन में जो नए जो एरिया है साइको न्यूरो इम्यूनोलॉजी, ये पीएनआई एक्सिस पूरा डिस्टर्ब होता है, और उसके साथ साथ एचपीए एक्सिस ऐसे बहुत सारे न्यूरो एंडोक्राइन एक्सिस है, वो हमारे सर्केडियन रिदम से जुड़े हैं. अगर एक एक्सिस खराब होता है या डिस्टर्ब होता है तो पूरा हमारा न्यूरो एंडोक्राइन सिस्टम बिगड़ जाता है. भले एक दो दिन में कोई असर नहीं होगा, लेकिन लॉन्ग टर्म जैसे महीने भर या साल भर अगर हम ऐसे लेट नाइट स्टडीज का अगर ऐसे चीजें करते हैं तो लॉन्ग टर्म में उसका नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट होगा. वो भी खासकर बच्चों में तो बिल्कुल नहीं करना चाहिए, किसी को भी नहीं करना चाहिए, खासकर बच्चे में नहीं करना चाहिए. Okay, so madam has advised 8 hours sleep must for adolescents. तो 10 hours sleep for younger kids, मतलब अब 12 साल 10 11 12 साल तक चलेगा, उसके 12 साल से लेकर आपको 18 साल तक कम से कम आपको 8 घंटे का नींद चाहिए, और उससे नीचे 12 साल से नीचे वालों को 10 घंटे का नींद जरूरी है। ये एज ए पेडियाट्रिशियन मैडम का रिकमेंडेशन है।
ओके सर, आई हैव वन मोर क्वेश्चन कि जब एक बच्चा 12-15 साल का हो जाता है तो ऑफ कोर्स इट्स अ प्यूबर्टी एंड उसके थॉट्स बहुत चेंज होते हैं और पेरेंट्स और उनकी काफी थॉट प्रोसेस में डिफरेंस आ जाता है। सो काफी कुछ एडवाइस किया जाता है, बट एज अ योगा स्टूडेंट और योगा थेरेपिस्ट हम इस चीज को कैसे उनके ये रिलेशन को मेंटेन करवा सकते हैं, या फिर योगा इस चीज में कैसे कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकता है?
वो ये ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन चाइल्डहुड टू अडल्टहुड का जो ट्रांजिशन है, ये बहुत डिफिकल्ट है सबके लिए। वो जनरेशन से वो वही आ रहा है, बिकॉज सोसाइटी भी बदलता है, उसके हिसाब से डिमांड भी बदलता है, सब कुछ बदलता है। उसी हिसाब से चाइल्डहुड टू अडल्टहुड का जो ट्रांजिशन है, जिसको हम एडोलेसेंस कहते हैं, उसमें पहला है आइडेंटिटी क्राइसिस। पेरेंट प्रोटेक्शन कस्टडी से हम अपने आप को साबित करने की कोशिश में रहते हैं, तो वो आइडेंटिटी क्राइसिस भी रहेगा। और हमारा बहुत सारे सेकेंडरी सेक्सुअल डेवलपमेंट होगा, बहुत सारे साइको सोशल और फिजियोलॉजिकल, ये तीनों डायरेक्शन में हमारा पूरा ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होता है। तो इट इज वेरी क्रिटिकल प्रोसेस। उस समय में पेरेंट्स का भी और इंडिविजुअल का भी, दोनों का एक म्यूचुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग अच्छा होना चाहिए। तो योगा कैसे करेगा? जैसे हम उनको योगा सिखाते हैं, जो हार्मोनल जो रश जो रहता है उसको वी कैन स्लो डाउन फर्स्ट। सेकेंड थिंग, जैसे इंटरनल अवेयरनेस डेवलप होता है, दे डेवलप बेटर सेल्फ रेगुलेशन। एग्रेशन या इम्पल्सिविटी जो है एज ए बाय प्रोडक्ट ऑफ एडोलेसेंस, वो कम होता है। दे ट्राई टू हैव बेटर awareness to listen to their feelings, listen to their thoughts, listen to their emotions. So वो जो सेंस इनर सेंसिटिविटी है, वो योगा से डेवलप होता है। दे बिकम मोर, अब एक शब्द में अगर आपको कहना है, दे बिकम मोर कनेक्टेड, ग्राउंडेड, because most of the time that is what we see. They are not empathetic, they are so reckless, they don't consider anything, gratitude is zero. So why? Because they are totally under the control, under the influence of hormones. So this hormonal stability can be achieved because in one study it quotes that yoga as a hormonal therapy, yoga as an endocrine therapy, which means yoga helps to have a better synchronized endocrine function. So I think somewhere these yoga practices have better internal harmony. So I request Shubha ma'am if you have any inputs regarding the same question, because it's a very vital question she has asked. And you are.
Yeah, so you were saying is how you could use yoga to build better relationship between parents and child. Is that the question? Is what I wanted to know. So if the whole family is doing yoga together, that would be the first thing, isn't it? They're all on the same page. I would say that the basic connectedness of the parent to the child has to begin from the beginning of the child's, from the beginning of parenting. So if that keeping communication lines open right from the time the child is small, and you have this listening, more of listening and less of talking as the child becomes an adolescent. So you are there available and you're listening to what the child is saying. That is the biggest thing you could do as a parent. Third thing is, I'm quoting one John Duffy, who has written a book called The Available Parent. And he says there are only 3 things that come between the parent and the child in good parenting. One is fearfulness. Second was being judgmental. And third one is having an ego. So if he keeps aside these 3 aspects and communicates with the child, he will do a great job as a parent. I would like to say that.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And one more thing she wanted to know, during this adolescent, during this transition, how, is there any specific things to be suggested? Like if you want to suggest somebody. Your mic is muted. Not here. I think the mic is still muted.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So during the transition from a child to adolescent, if you are understanding the normative changes which are happening, that will be half the job, because the work of adolescence is to have independence. So to get independence, he has to do many things. He has to stretch limits, he has to explore, he has to experiment. All these things, if the parent understands, then that much of freedom is given to the child. So freedom with responsibility is what the parent will give the child. So that transition will be smooth. In like 80% are transitioning smoothly. You don't have every adolescent coming to the clinic asking for help. I mean, it's from time, from evolution onwards, it has been smooth. It's only the effect of the external world which the parent has to deal with. And if you have communication from the beginning, then you'll be able to help the adolescent, transition very smoothly. So just look at all the influences in the child's life.
No, but there should not be an helicopter parenting. True. Thank you very much, ma'am. That was so insightful. Hope somebody is asking, inversion 7 years से छोटे बच्चे के लिए क्यों अच्छा नहीं है? वो इसलिए अच्छा नहीं है क्योंकि 7 साल से पहले जो बच्चों में जो न्यूरो हार्मोनल एक्सेस, जिसको हम न्यूरो एंडोक्राइन एक्सेस बोलते हैं, उनका तो पूरा डेवलपमेंट अभी हुआ नहीं रहता है। उस समय अगर हम इन्वर्शन देंगे, एक तो सर्कुलेटरी चेंजेस ब्रेन में बदल जाते हैं, और साथ ही साथ ये जो थायराइड स्टिमुलेशन है वो सर्वांगासन है या शीर्षासन में बहुत ज्यादा रहता है। तो वो कहीं ना कहीं थायराइड स्टिमुलेशन और उनका जो इन्वर्शन का जो ब्लड ब्रेन चेंजेस है वो न्यूरो एंडोक्राइन एक्सेस में नेगेटिव इफेक्ट डाल देता है। तो इसलिए 2-3 स्टडीज में तो ये ऐसे डॉक्यूमेंट किया गया है कि दे डिड ऑब्जर्वेशनल स्टडी किया है, उसमें पता चला कि जो बच्चे 7 साल पहले से जो बच्चे एडवांस ये सब इन्वर्शन वगैरह करते हैं, उनका ग्रोथ कंपेयर टू देयर ग्रोथ में थोड़ा रिटार्डेशन है। तो ग्रोथ में रिटार्डेशन, इवन देयर सेकेंडरी सेक्सुअल कैरेक्टर डेवलपमेंट, जितने भी जो हार्मोनल जो डेवलपमेंट में कमियां रहता है, तो डायरेक्ट कोरिलेशन नहीं हो सकता है, बट कहीं ना कहीं ऐसा है कि इट्स बेटर टू अवॉइड इन्वर्शन, सो टू हैव अ बेटर न्यूरो एंडोक्राइन एक्सेस फॉर द कंप्लीट मैच्योरेशन एंड हैव अ बेटर फंक्शनिंग। क्योंकि अभी देखिए जी, रिसर्च क्या है कि अभी इन्फेंसी में बहुत सारे चीजें कि एग्जैक्ट ये जो काज एंड इफेक्ट वाली चीज हमें नहीं पता है। इट्स अ वेरी वास्ट एरिया टू एक्सप्लोर, बट based on the existing evidence, I would recommend it's better to avoid, because why inversion क्यों चाहिए? Because you can achieve benefits through many other practices. One more question. Parents restlessness को कैसे कंट्रोल करें चिल्ड्रन को पीसफुली जीने के लिए? ये तो $1 million क्वेश्चन है, क्योंकि पेरेंट्स का रेस्टलेसनेस, क्योंकि वो खुद अपने पर्सनल या उनके प्रोफेशनल तनाव है, उसकी वजह से वो परेशान रहता है, तो वो चीज बच्चों पे डालते हैं, बिकॉज दे हैव टू वेंटिलेट, उनको कहीं पे भी वेंटिलेशन चाहिए, तो वो बच्चों के ऊपर डाल देते हैं। जैसे मुझे डॉक्टर बनना था, नहीं बन पाया, तो मैं अपने बेटे को बोलूंगा कि तुझे डॉक्टर बन के ही रहना। सो the unrealistic expectation, and we don't respect a child as an individual human being. Children have come through us. They're not part of us. They are not like we don't owe them. हमें ऐसा लगता है कि ये मेरा है, तो जो मैं बोलूं वही करे। We should respect them as an individual, and we should give that space for them to decide. तो ये हमारा पर्सनल प्रॉब्लम है। जो पेरेंट्स का रेस्टलेसनेस हमें खुद को संभालना पड़ेगा, बच्चे का उसमें कोई लेना देना नहीं। तो उसके लिए नरेंद्र जी, पेरेंट्स का दूसरा सेशन मैडम के साथ हम आगे कभी अरेंज करेंगे कि हाउ टू प्रोवाइड अ बेटर पेरेंटिंग। some of the share some ideas on children holistic health and hormonal balance. As Madam clearly stated, Madam पहले ही मतलब clearly बता दिया कि टिप्स में ये बहुत बहुत जरूरी चीज है, जैसे जंक फूड है, एक्सेस सोडियम है, इवन एक्सेस ग्लूकोज कंजम्पशन है, ये सारे जितने भी जो न्यूट्रिशनल, बिकॉज देयर आल्सो न्यूट्रिशन, वो वेस्ट नहीं है, लेकिन ये न्यूट्रिशनल इन एन अनरेगुलेटेड मैनर जब हम लेते हैं जरूरत से ज्यादा, हमें कैसा लगता है कि बच्चे मतलब हट्टे कट्टे होने चाहिए, खाते पीते घर के, हमारा डायलॉग है खाते पीते, मतलब जो ओबेसिटी है उनको बोलते हैं खाते पीते घर के. Obesity is not always healthy. Being little bit plumpy in childhood, it's fine, but plumpy doesn't mean you should have BMI more than normal. So holistic health कब होगा? बच्चे का लाइफस्टाइल बराबर होना चाहिए. लाइफस्टाइल किसके ऊपर डिपेंड है? हमारे वो जिस वातावरण में रहते हैं उसके हिसाब से. अगर घर का वातावरण अच्छा है तो बच्चे का मानसिक, सामाजिक और शारीरिक स्थिति बराबर रहता है. तो अर्ली टू बेड, रात को जल्दी सुलाना है, सुबह जल्दी उठाना है, तो ये सब जो रूटीन है अगर हम बचपन से डालते हैं तो ऑब्वियसली बच्चे का जो संपूर्ण व्यक्तित्व का विकसन भी होगा, समग्र स्वास्थ्य का भी अच्छा ही होगा. हार्मोनल बैलेंस कब होगा? जब हमारे बायोलॉजिकल क्लॉक, जो सर्केडियन रिदम अगर नॉर्मल काम करता है तो उसके हिसाब से हमारा पूरा हार्मोन्स नॉर्मल काम करेंगे. हार्मोन्स के लिए कोई सेपरेट काम करने की या सप्लीमेंट लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. ओमेगा 3, ओमेगा 6 वो उसकी जरूरत नहीं है. हार्मोनल बैलेंस comes with balanced nutrition. घरेलू खाना खाना है, ज्यादा फ्रूट्स, ये शाक सब्जी वगैरह ये सब लेना, फिर जंक फूड को अवॉइड करना. अवॉइड मतलब जितना हो सकता है उतना कम करना. रेगुलर फिजिकल एक्टिविटी में रहना, रिक्रिएशन होना चाहिए और अच्छे से नींद होना चाहिए. ये सब जब होगा ऑब्वियसली everything will be under control. If a child starts hiding things and start lying from parents, how to make them aware about right things? It is very vital question. Children are very good in hiding, because we should ask ourselves, why do they hide? Why are they not confident enough to come in front of the parents and share? This is the biggest problem with parents and children, that they are not well connected. They cannot talk to each other openly. Why do any child hide from the parents? Because they are so scared. Fear is blocking them to share their feelings, their experiences. That is why they hide. So how to make them aware of right thing is first take them to your confidence. Make them feel comfortable. When they feel confident, comfortable, they will share. We need to have that patience. I think, ma'am, I would like to.
So we have a theory of positive discipline. So positive discipline is a new field, and it has got some very new ideas, which I think as culturally we may not accept. Our Indian culture says, I'm the father of the house. I tell and you listen, and whatever I say is God's word. That is autocratic and authoritarian style of parenting. We have neglectful, authoritative, and permissive parenting. So these four styles of parenting are what results in the child ultimately going out into the world, with the burden of whatever the style of parenting was, dealt with. So in this case, where this child is lying, it means he was fearful. So why was he fearful? It's because there was no communication, there was no connection between the parent. He was just told to do things. So that has to change. That equation has to change. So once the child and the father are on the same, level of understanding, and the child is not fearful of the father anymore, but he is healthily respectful of the father, then things will work. So the style of parenting has to change. And in positive discipline, it says, be firm and kind in the same sentence. So you have the firmness, but you be kind. So I think that there's a lot to talk about in parenting, and you have another session, we will do it.
Sure, ma'am. That's what I was telling, because parenting is a vast area, and they have so many questions regarding parenting. Apart from today's topic, there are so many questions. And somebody is asking, बच्चों का वजन weight कैसे बढ़ाए? कौन सा आसन is useful रहेगा? Like weight is not related to calories or asana. Weight is purely the function of energy system, and that is directly under the control of hormones. लेप्टिन है, ग्रेलिन है, एडिपोनेक्टिन है, ये सारे हार्मोन्स हमारे एनर्जी सिस्टम को संभालता है। तो वजन बढ़ाने के लिए आसन की ऐसी कुछ रिकमेंडेशन नहीं है। अगर सच में वजन बढ़ाना है तो पहले उनका डाइटरी हैबिट बदल दीजिए और स्लीप हैबिट बदल दीजिए, और साथ ही साथ उनका रिलैक्सेशन बढ़ाइए। सिर्फ आसन ही नहीं है, प्राणायाम में जैसे चंद्र अनुलोम विलोम प्राणायाम है, चंद्र अनुलोम विलोम प्राणायाम और भ्रामरी प्राणायाम, उनको रोज 3-4 बार अल्टरनेट कराने के लिए अगर आप समझाएंगे तो डेफिनेटली इट हेल्प्स टू हैव अ बेटर इफेक्ट ऑन लेप्टिन सेंसिटिविटी द सटाइटी सेंटर। बच्चे प्राणायाम करने में इंटरेस्टेड नहीं होते तो उनको प्राणायाम के लिए कैसे बिठाए? बच्चों को प्राणायाम करना ऑब्वियसली सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि दे आर सो एक्टिव। तो उनको करना है तो यू हैव टू ईदर यूज समथिंग टू मिमिक, जैसे सिंह गर्जनासन, टाइगर ब्रीदिंग है, or you have to keep them doing like Kapalbhati or Bastrika. Give them something which is in an active form. Don't teach them anything mindfully. So simple is make them mimic something, even like rabbit breathing, tiger breathing, dog breathing. So these are also breath regulation. They will have a similar effect for especially for children. And I personally feel chantings are more beneficial. Instead of calling it as a pranayama, you add chanting, like take a deep breath and exhale while chant Omkara. That itself, compensate pranayama practice. For growing teens, I think for teenagers, I would recommend Surya Namaskara should be a holistic fitness tool. They should practice Surya Namaskara on a day-to-day basis. I think we had a very long question answer session, because I was expecting when Shubha ma'am is there, definitely they would ask so much about parenting, as I expected. And thank you very much for wonderful questions. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, that was quite an informative session with a lot of communication from the participants and the speakers, which was simply brilliant. Thank you, Dr. Vijay, for such an insightful session, because all of us know how difficult it is to get children to do yoga, and children's yoga has been one of the least discussed topics in the field of yoga so far. I think people are just scared to, even think about what to do and how to go about it. So thank you once again for giving us
Excuse me,
such a
madam.
wonderful session.
You are not, I'm not able to hear you. Maybe there is a problem with microphone.
Am I audible now? Hello? Am I audible now? Okay. So like I was mentioning, it was a very insightful session with a lot of conversation between the speakers and the participants. Shows how brilliant our participants are. Yoga in the field of children has been one of the least discussed topics till date, because we don't know how to go about it, and children are pretty much children. And to get them to do something, I know how much of a Herculean task it is. So thank you, Dr. Vijay, for giving us a wonderful session on the much needed topic. Now, now that we have heard and understood how yoga helps children, it is time for us to also practice and learn practically the module of yoga for post-COVID well-being in children. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our yoga teacher, Mr. Satyajit Singh Jala. He has completed his MSc in Yoga Therapy from the prestigious SVSA University and MPhil from our own Lakulish Yoga University. And he's currently working as a professor here in our university. He's also pursuing his PhD. Over to you, Satyajit, sir. And along with him for demo session is our student, Nikhil Srinivas of Masters MSc second semester.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible, Nikhil? Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Subhaman. Thank you very much, Dr. Vijay sir. Thank you very much, Sahana ma'am, for giving this opportunity. As we discussed that the yoga is only for practice, and we all know that we understood the theory, biological theory and anatomical theory, physiological theory, psychological theory of how to handle the children or how to practice, or what kind of practices we can give to the children. So now, without wasting the time, we are moving on to the practical session. So as you all can see the Nikhil Gowda's video, and I will be instructing. So if you are interested, then please turn on your video also, and you can also practice with us. So we will start the practice. Sit in any comfortable meditative posture. Adapt Gyan Mudra. Sit straight. Close your eyes. 2 to 3 deep breathing. We will start the session with 3 rounds of Omkar chanting. Inhale deeply. Om. Inhale. Om. Inhale. Om. With closed eyes, feel the beautiful resonance of Omkar spreading throughout the body. So first we will go for the practice of Kapalbhati. Kapalbhati is kind of a Shat Kriya, which we can use for cleansing our nostrils or cleansing the unwanted particles from the body. So first we will go for the practice of Kapalbhati for 30 strokes for 3 rounds. First 2 rounds with hands movement. For Kapalbhati, we are inhaling with passive and exhalation would be active pace. Means we have to exhale forcefully and inhalation would be passive. So for more pressure, we can use our hands. Inhale, raise your hands up. Raise your hands up. Nikhil, am I audible? Yes. Inhale, raise your hands up and start. 1, forceful exhalation and put your hands down. Yes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release your hands. Place it on your knees. 2 to 3 deep breathings and relaxation. Feel the beautiful opening sensation towards your both the nostrils. Kapalbhati cleanses the nostrils also, cleanses the air pipe from nostrils to abdomen, produces the heat inside the abdomen region, and give us a relaxation in excessive thought. So we'll go for second round. Inhale, raise your hands up, and start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Relax yourself. Ma'am, you can slide the pictures so that you can find the Nikhil Gowda's video. If anyone not seeing, please rewrite it again. Slide the members and you can find the Nikhil Gowda's video. Or you can practice with us. I think I can instruct. Yes, got it? Thank you.
Nikhil can be now seen in spotlight videos.
Inhale, raise your hands up. And start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release your hands. Please sit on your knees. Feel the beautiful relaxation in your mind. Thoughts becomes less. Mind becomes calm. Gently adopt Namaskar Mudra. Rub your palms. Place it on your eyes. If you blink, so open your eyes under your palms only. By watching your palm, open your eyes and come to standing posture. After practicing any Shatkriya or heat producing pranayam, it is necessary to practice some loosening exercise. So first loosening exercise would be the jogging. We'll go for jogging for 10 seconds and 4 different types of jogging here. First, jogging, make a thumb inside your fingers and place it near to your chest. Loosen your arms and start slow jogging on your toes only. Heels away from the ground and start slow jogging on your toes. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lean a little bit back and start raising your knees as much as up. Forward jogging. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slow jogging for 5 seconds. Release yourself. Make sure you are breathing from the nose only. Your mouth would be closed during the full practice. Second, lean a little bit forward and start touching your heels to the hips. Backward jogging. And start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slow jogging for 5 seconds. 5, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release your hands, open your palms, and try to touch your heels to the hands. Side jogging. Start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slow jogging. Release and relax. Legs apart up to mat width. Place your palms on your knees, bend forward. Your nose and exhale forceful through your mouth. This is called Mukha Dhoti. Go for Mukha Dhoti 5 times. Inhale through your nose and exhale forceful through your mouth. Whenever you feel breathlessness or whenever you are walking excessively, you can go for Mukha Dhoti. It will give you instant relaxation and it will give instantly breathing normal, heartbeats normal. Relax yourself. Legs apart, hands hanging freely. Close your eyes and relax the whole body. Feel the beautiful change after the practice of all 4 different types of jogging, loosening exercises. Now we'll go for another loosening exercises for 5 times. legs apart up to 1 to 1.5 feet or up to mat width. Your feet should be straight, not in V shape. Raise your hands up to shoulder level from sideways. Exhale and place your right palm on your left shoulder, left hand behind your back, and twist your abdomen. Try to watch your right heel from behind your back without bending your knees. Continuous. Inhale, center, straight your hands. Exhale, opposite side, left hand on your left palm on your right shoulder, right hand behind your back. Inhale, center. We'll go for 5 times. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Last round. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, drop your hands down. Bring your legs together and relaxing. Shithil Tadasana. Legs apart, hands hanging freely. Close your eyes. This is Shithil Tadasana, the standing relaxation posture. Whenever you are going for any posture or any kind of exercise, relaxation and preparatory postures are necessary to give relaxation to your body as well as your breath. Next, we'll go for side bending loosening exercise. This was the spinal twist loosening exercise. Again, for side bending loosening exercise, legs apart up to shoulder width. Again, shoulder width only. Yes. Place your feet only in the straight line, not in a V shape. Interlock your fingers in front of you. Inhale, raise your hands up, palms facing the roof. Exhale, bend towards the right. Try not to bend towards the left, forward or backward. Exhale, bend towards the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Right, sorry. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Last round. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, release your hands. Legs apart and relax yourself. 2 to 3 deep breathings. So next exercise, again, legs apart up to 2 to 2.5 feet. Alternate toe touching loosening exercise. Inhale, raise your hands up to shoulder level from sideways. Exhale, bend forward up to 90 degree. Yes. Again here, inhale deeply. Exhale and try to touch your left big toe with your right palm. Inhale, center. Exhale, opposite. Right big toe with your left palm. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Last round. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, inhale, come up. Exhale, drop your hands down. Bring your legs together and relax yourself. 2 to 3 deep breathings. Now we'll go for the practice of QRT, which is quick relaxation technique. So lie down on your back. It is most important that between the practice and after the each and every kind of practice, you can relax so that you can retrieve the energy and you can store the more energy for next practice. So relax yourself in Shavasana, legs apart, palms facing the roof, turn the head at the left or right side. And slowly shift your awareness to the tip of your nostrils. Feel the air enter your lungs. Exhale. Feel the air exit your lungs. Slowly shift your awareness to the tip of your nostrils. Feel the air enter your lungs. Exhale. Try to watch your each and every inhalation and exhalation with closed eyes. Try to be aware of your breathing. Just observe your each and every breath from the tip of your nostrils with closed eyes. Now drop down this experience and rotate your awareness to the abdomen region. Just with your closed eyes, try to watch your abdomen muscles movement. The abdomen muscles stretches and contracts simultaneously. The continuous stretching and contracting movement of your abdomen muscles. Try to watch these movements with closed eyes. Now drop down this experience also and synchronize both the movements together. Means while inhalation, try to watch the air coming inside your body from the nostrils. At the same time, try to feel that abdomen muscles are stretches and abdomen is bulging up. While exhaling, your abdomen muscles contracts and your abdomen shrinks down, and you are exhaling hot, warm air from both the nostrils. Try to watch the whole process with closed eyes. Now drop down this experience. Slowly come to bodily consciousness. Move your fingers and toes very gently. Raise your left hand above your head on the ground. Straight your left hand over your head on the ground. Turn your body towards the left side. And with your both palms support, slowly come to sitting posture. From there, come to standing posture. Open your eyes gently. Feel the beautiful energy restoration in your body, breath, and mind. Now we'll go for the practice of postures. We'll do all the postures for only for 10 to 15 seconds only. I think 10 seconds because we have less time. So we'll go for only 10 seconds each and every posture so that you can have idea that what kind of practices we can give to the children to increase their memory power, to increase their mental awareness, to increase their present moment awareness. So first we'll go for Vrikshasana, both sided. First we'll go for right side. Sthiti Tadasana, bring your legs together, hands by side of the body, straight your head, gaze at one point in front of you so that you can get balance easily. Hold your right leg from the knee and place it near to your left thigh. Make sure your right heel should touch it to the perineum region. Inhale, start raising your hands from sideways. Turn your palm at 90 degrees. Adopt Namaskar Mudra over your head and hold it for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exhale, slowly drop your hand down from sideways. Turn your palm at 90 degrees. Drop your hands down, drop your right leg down, and relax in Shithil Tadasana. Feel the beautiful change after the practice of Vrikshasana, one-sided. 2 to 3 deep breathing. You go for opposite side. Bring your legs together. Hold your left leg from the knee and place it over to your right thigh. Make sure your left heel should touch to the perineum region. Inhale, start raising your hands from sideways. Turn your palm at 90 degrees. Lift your hands up, adopt Namaskar Mudra over your head, and hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, drop your hands down. From sideways, turn your palm at 90 degrees. Drop your hands down, drop your leg down. Legs apart, hands hanging freely. Close your eyes and relax yourself. 2 to 3 deep breathings. Next posture for Padahastasana. Legs apart up to shoulder width. Place your palms on your thighs. Inhale, raise your hands from the front over to your head. Exhale, bend forward from the lower back and try to place your palms under your soles from the front. Bend your elbows and try to bring your forehead towards your knee. Elbows outward, sideways, and hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, release your hands. Come up from the front. Raise your hands over your head. Exhale, drop your hands down on your thighs. Legs apart and relax in Shithil Tadasana. 2 to 3 deep breathings. Feel the beautiful change after the practice of Padahastasana and Vrikshasana. Slowly settle down on your mat. We'll go for some sitting postures. Legs apart, hands back, head resting on your left or right shoulder, and relax in Shithil Dandasana. Like we have in standing Shithil and Sthiti Tadasana. In sitting, we have Shithil and Sthiti Dandasana, the relaxation and preparatory posture of sitting position. So now bring your legs together, hands by side of the body, Sthiti Dandasana. Toes active. Active means toes inside your body. Knees should be straight, elbow should be straight, and back, head, neck should be in one line. This is Sthiti Dandasana, the sitting preparatory posture. Place your palms on your knees. First, we'll go for Paschimottanasana. Inhale, raise your hands up from the front over to your head. Exhale, bend forward. Try to touch your or try to catch all your big toes with first two finger and thumb. Try to bend your elbow and place your elbows on the ground. Try to touch your forehead or chin to the knee and hold. Bend from the lower back. Try to rest your abdomen on your thighs and hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, raise your hands up. Come up from the upper body. Exhale, drop your hands on your thighs. Inhale, hands back, head back, legs apart, and relax in Shithil Dandasana. Feel the changes after the practice of Paschimottanasana. Next, we'll go for Ustrasana. Bring your legs together, hands by side of the body. Hold your leg one by one and place it under your hip. Sit in Vajrasana. From here, come up on your knees. Knees apart up to shoulder width. Toes should be passive. If you are flexible, then you can go for this practice, or you can go for the Ardha Ustrasana also. Make your toes active. First, we'll show them the Ardha Ustrasana, toes active. Place your palms on your back, fingers and thumb facing downwards on your back. Yes, inhale, roll your shoulders, elbows as closer as possible to each other. Inhale, bend back, head, neck, relax, and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exhale, come up. Now directly we'll go for the Ustrasana, the second variation. Inhale, raise your right hand up. Toes should be passive. Exhale, catch hold your right heel with your right hand. Inhale, raise your left hand up. Exhale, catch hold your left heel with your left hand. Push your hip forward. Stretch your abdomen, neck relax, head relax, and hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, raise your left hand up. Exhale, drop it on your left thigh. Inhale, raise your right hand up. Exhale, drop it on your right thigh. Relaxing Vajrasana. Release your leg one by one and relaxing Shithil Dandasana. 2 to 3 deep breathings and relax the whole body. Feel the changes after the practice of Paschimottanasana and Ustrasana. Sitting postures. Now we'll go for Supine posture, bring your legs together, lie down on your back with your both elbow support into Shavasana, legs together, palms facing downwards, head straight, Sthiti Shavasana. Now from here, inhale, raise your legs up to 45-degree angle, Uttan Padasana. Just try to watch your big toes only up to that level or up to that extent. You have to raise your legs up, tight your abdomen and hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, drop your leg down. Release your hands and relax. 2 to 3 deep breathing. Feel the changes after the practice of Uttan Padasana. Next, we'll go for the practice of Setu Bandhasana. Bring your legs together, hands by side of the body. Inhale, lift your legs up to 90 degree without bending your knees. Exhale, fold your leg from the knee and place it near to your hips on the ground. Legs apart up to shoulder width. Try to catch hold your try to catch hold your ankle joints. Press on. Exhale, drop your body down. Release your hands. Inhale, straight your legs 90 degree. Exhale, drop your legs down on the ground. Relaxing. Shithil Shavasana. 2 to 3 deep breathings. I'll just take more 5 minutes. Just relax yourself. Now we'll go for relaxation, the deep relaxation technique, DRT. Try to watch your each and every body parts, which I'm going to pronounce with your closed eyes. Try to watch your big toes, relax the small toes, soles, heels, relax your ankle joints, calf muscles, shin bones, relax your knee joints, thigh muscles, relax your hip joints, and pelvic region. Relax the whole lower part of the body. The whole lower part of the body totally relax. For further relaxation, we will chant one round of Akara here. Inhale deeply. Feel the beautiful vibrations of Akara in your lower part of the body. Now rotate your awareness to the abdomen, chest region. Relax your shoulders, biceps and triceps. Relax your elbows, forearms, wrist joints, palms and fingers. Totally relax. Relax your lower back, middle back, upper back, shoulder blades, and spinal cord. Relax the whole middle part of the body. For further relaxation of your middle part of the body, we will chant one round of Ukara here. Inhale deeply. Ooh. Feel the beautiful vibrations of Uka, your middle part of the body. Now shift your awareness to the neck region. Relax your throat, chin, lips, No ears. Relax your eyes, eyebrows, forehead, backside of the head, and crown of the head. Relax your whole head region, the upper part of the body. Totally relax. For further relaxation of your head region, we will chant one round of Makara here. Inhale deeply. Feel the beautiful vibrations of Maka in your head region. Now relax your whole body from head to the toes, toes to the head. For further relaxation of your whole body, we will chant one round of A, U, Ma all together in one breath. Inhale deeply. Feel the beautiful vibrations of chanting of Akar, Ukar, and Makar spreading throughout the body. Slowly come to bodily consciousness. Move your fingers and toes very gently. Raise your left hand over your head on the ground. Turn your body towards the left side. Slowly with your both palms support into sitting posture. With closed eyes, sit in any comfortable meditative posture. Adapt Gyan Mudra. Due to time limits, we are skipping the Anulom Vilom Pranayam and Bhramari Pranayam. We can give to the children also to sharpen the mind or relax them. So we'll conclude the session with one round of Omkar chanting. Inhale deeply. Om. Gently adapt Namaskar Mudra. Rub your palms. Place it on your eyes, face, neck, shoulders, hands all over the body. Placing your palms, open your eyes. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Zahanaman. Over to you. Thank you, Nikhil. Subha ma'am, if you want to add something to the practice. Because of time limit, we are, merging all the practices for time limits. Actually, your mic is muted now. Please unmute Subha ma'am's mic.
Thank you so much, Satyajit. It looked so easy, and I was doing with you. I was doing with Nikhil, and I just broke out in a sweat. So obviously, so much of calories are burnt with just these such simple and
simple practice.
I'm amazed. So I'm sure that with routine use, the children will benefit so much from this. I think that
yes, this was just 30 minutes of program, ma'am, and this was research published by researchers that all these kinds of simple practices can make a huge difference in children's mind and awareness, so that we can use them for day-to-day life also for them.
Right. See, all the negative effects of other things are negated by this yoga practice. I think that is what we should emphasize. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Sana ma'am.
Thank you, Satyajit sir, for such a wonderful yoga session. All of our participants benefited deeply by it. It was very nice and peaceful, but like Shubha ma'am said, very tiring, which is what is required for children, especially like you and I know, because we have toddlers. So we have come to end of today's program. I thank our sponsor, IUCYS, for helping us organize such an important and valuable and need of the hour webinar. I thank our speakers for their time. I thank our participants. Special thanks to our president, Dr. Dinesh Bhai Amin sir, Provost Prashant sir, for their encouragement and guidance. For Life Mission and its members for constant support, and also for always attending our webinars. By the grace of Lord Lakulish, blessings of Bapuji and Param Puja Guruji, we hope to spread knowledge of yoga to the world. I sincerely thank Dr. Avinash Pandeyji, Director of IUCYS, for supporting us constantly. I extend my special thanks to Mr. Jose NJ, consultant to IUAC and IUCYS. He has helped us a lot to put this program in action. I would like to thank Yash Vora, student of MSc second semester, who has helped us in technical arrangements and has been patient with us. We in Lakulish Yoga University take pride in students who are multi-talented and encourage them in the path of holistic growth. Thanks to Nikhil also for giving us a wonderful demo today. Before we end today's program, I would like to make an announcement. Lakulish Yoga University is organizing 2 national webinars, that is tomorrow and day after tomorrow, that is 21st and 22nd of June. Both days are sponsored by IUCYS. E-certificate will be provided for participation. On 21st June, the national webinar is on yoga for elders, health and well-being in post-pandemic world. It starts from 5:30 p.m. onwards. 22nd June, the national webinar is on yoga for women's health and well-being in post-pandemic world. It starts from 11 a.m. onwards. Kindly register through the link that I have shared with all of you in the chat box. For any queries, you can contact me. The webinars are going to be very informative, and the participants are most definitely going to get a certificate of participation. Hope to see you in the next 2 days. With this, I end today's program. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Loka samasta sukhi.